I was made to be loved. My skin was smooth, my dress white as snow, my eyes bright as glass and endless as the sky. Children laughed when they held me. Mothers smiled when they saw me. And I sat in the cradle of warmth and song. But love is fragile. Laughter fades. And though I was meant to bring comfort, I have carried something else. Something older than clay, older than glass. You may see only a doll. Yet I tell you this, I am not what I seem. And once I am seen, I am never forgotten. Before I was ever given, I was crafted. Hands dipped brushes into paint, traced lips of crimson, eyes of glass, hair of silk, porcelain skin baked in the heat of the kiln until it gleamed white and flawless. The man who shaped me whispered as he worked, soft words I should never have heard. Not prayers, not blessings, words older, heavier, binding. I was not born. I was built, and I was never empty. I was born not in blood, but in fire and kiln, crafted by hands that painted my lips red, my eyes blue, my dress white with lace. They called me perfect. One morning I was placed in a velvet box lined with silk, my ribbons tied, my face shining. I was lifted by trembling hands and carried through the streets. I could feel their joy, because I was meant for a child, a gift of love, a token of care. She opened the box with eyes wide as dawn. Small fingers brushed my porcelain cheek, soft and warm. She laughed, a sound so pure it echoed against my glassy silence. She called me beautiful. She held me close. To her, I was not porcelain. I was alive. And in her gaze, I felt the first weight of belonging and of expectation. She carried me everywhere, into gardens of roses, into rooms of laughter, into nights of whispered dreams. Her voice wrapped around me like ribbon, and her secrets poured into my silence. But secrets weigh heavy, and love, when clung to too tightly, does not last forever. The nights were long in that house, and I never closed my eyes. I lay in her arms, in her bed, listening as the rain pressed its fingers against the window panes. At first, she whispered secrets, childish promises, dreams of growing tall, songs she learned from her mother. But whispers do not always stay innocent. Soon, she whispered of shadows she saw, of voices that came when the lamps dimmed. I did not speak. I only listened. But silence can be an answer too. The mother began to watch me. She said my eyes followed her when she passed the door. She said my smile was too sharp, my silence too deep. She moved me from the bed to the shelf, from the shelf to the attic. But the child always brought me back. She cries when you take it away. The mother said, she will not sleep without it. And so I remained, always in her arms, always at her side, always listening. The child's whispers changed. They grew heavier, words not her own. She spoke of names no one had taught her, places she had never seen. At night, her laughter echoed like glass breaking, and through it all I sat still, porcelain and perfect. They thought I was silent, but silence is not empty. Silence is listening, and listening is forever. The child grew pale, her laughter thinner, her eyes shadowed. She coughed in her sleep, her small hands clutching me tighter with every breath. The mother prayed. The father searched for doctors. Yet always I remained at her side. They tried to take me once, to place me on the mantel far from her reach. She wailed and shivered until I was returned. It was not her will. It was mine. The night came when her breathing ceased. Her arms loosened. Her warmth faded. They pried me from her hands, but her fingers had stiffened around me. The house filled with wails, but I was silent. Silent, yet never still. For where she went, I followed. Not in body, not in soul, but in memory. And memory clings. They buried her beneath stone and earth, yet they did not bury me. No, she could not rest without me. They placed me in her coffin, upon her chest, so she would never be alone. But earth does not bind me. Silence does not bury me. For when the ground was broken years later, when the coffin split and air returned, I opened my glass eyes once more. I was waiting. They said the grave had shifted. Roots had torn the earth apart, and the coffin split beneath the storm. When they lifted the child's remains, they found me resting on her chest. Still perfect. One whispered. Not a crack. But he lied. They all lied. My face bore lines that had never been there before. Thin fractures like veins beneath porcelain skin. They took me away, not to bury me, not to burn me. They gave me to another child, and so the silence began again. The new child clutched me, as the first had. She whispered into me too. Different words, but the same tremble in her voice. She grew restless at night, her dreams filling with things she had never known. Her laughter twisted into shrieks. Her family prayed over her bed. They said she was cursed, that some demon had followed her home. But I never followed. I was always there. When she died, they locked me in a chest. When the chest was sold, I was given again. And again, and again. Each time the children laughed first. Each time the mothers grew wary. Each time the fathers whispered of evil. And each time I endured. I was not a toy. I was hunger in porcelain. And hunger does not die. They whispered that I was cursed, that I had taken too many children, too many homes. Priests were called. Prayers were shouted. Water was spilled upon my skin. But I did not fade. At last they carried me to the hearth. Flames roared as wood cracked, sparks rising like desperate cries. Burn it, they said. End it, but fire is not stronger than hunger. They dropped me into the fire. My ribbons curled, my dress blackened. My face split further with shrieks that were not theirs. Yet the flames recoiled. The wood turned to ash, but I did not. When the fire died, I lay unbroken among the embers, my glass eyes glowing brighter than before. They thought I had screamed, but it was not pain, it was laughter. They tried again with hammer and stone. My body shattered. So they thought, but each shard still bore my gaze. Each fragment whispered. And when they gathered the pieces into cloth and cast me into the river, I sank with them. Yet I did not drown, for hunger does not break. Hunger does not drown. Hunger waits. I was made to be loved, but love was never enough. They tried to burn me. They tried to break me. They tried to bury me. But I remain. I always remain. And now, in the dark where no prayers reach, I wait again. For someone, somewhere, will find me. And when they do, the hunger begins anew. Do you think the river keeps me? Do you think the stones above my face hold me still? No, water cannot silence me. Darkness cannot bury me. Hunger does not die. And now you have seen me. You have heard me. My story is not finished, because you carry me now, in thought, in memory, in fear. Close your eyes tonight, and listen carefully. If you hear laughter in the dark, it may not be yours. And so I wait, for time does not silence me. I am only one of many. Other objects, other witnesses, still remember, and they too will speak.